Hi, my name is Leona Antwine, and I'm going to work with you today on how to make a ribbon skirt. It's really simple. As long as you can sew a straight line, you can make a ribbon skirt. First, you have to get your measurements down. The waist is 1.5 times the size of your regular waist. So let's say your waist is 26 inches all the way around. You're going to want to find 1/2 of that. So you're going to take your waist plus 1/2, which would be 26 inches divided by 2, 13 inches. Now you want to do 26 plus 13, which is going to be 39. And then you're going to divide that in half. 39 divided by 2 is going to be 19.5. So to keep things easier, just round it up to 20 inches. Each side then of the skirt is going to be 20 inches wide. And the waist will be 40 inches all the way around. The next thing you're going to do is before you cut this out, is to figure out how to make the skirt so that it's wide enough and to ensure that the top part is going to fit the elastic just right. So on the top, you're going to want to come down about 3 inches, and this is where you're going to fold down your hem to put your elastic in. So, depending on how wide your elastic is, you're going to want to cut straight down about 3 or 4 inches. And then, as you work towards the bottom, you're going to want to plan to have another inch or 2 for your hem on the bottom. If you don't have enough fabric, then use double folded bias tape. Now, instead of just cutting straight down, if you want to have legroom to be able to walk around, you're going to want to fan this out about 3 inches. So as you cut, you start off straight down on the top about 3 or 4 inches, and then you fan out about 3 inches on each side. The best way to do this is to put both of your pieces of fabric together and then fold them the long way, so from side to side. Once you fold your fabric in half, you can kind of get an idea of how wide to make the waist and how much room you have to expand on the sides. So you're going to cut down go in about 3 or 4 inches and cut straight down. And then from there, you can use scissors for this. I like to use a roller just because it's easier and it's a lot quicker. But again, if you don't have one, pin it and then cut. And it should look like this. Now you want to figure out where you want your ribbon to start. So you can start a few inches up. You can start from the bottom. I think it's easier if you measure from the bottom and work your way up. With this skirt that we'll be doing today, we're going to work up a few inches. And so you're going to want to figure out where your line is on the bottom to start sewing the ribbon on. And then look at how many pieces of ribbon that you have and work your way up. Okay, now you can gather some of your materials. If you have chalk, this would be a good time to use that to trace your line. The fabric that I have here is pretty dark, so instead of trying to use like a marker or something to draw the line across, I'm just going to iron and use the line from the iron as my guide as to where I'm going to start the ribbon. Other things you can use are a yardstick to go across and to make sure that it's even. And then, even if you don't have seamstress chalk, you could use a pen or a marker or something. It'll be something that you're sewing over. Then you can lay out your ribbon to figure out how much room you have, if it's the right color, and then get it positioned and start your sewing. You don't want to start all the way at the end. You're going to want to leave about an inch of space before you start sewing down. And then position your ribbon with the hem or with the fold or the line, and you just sew a straight stitch. And you go all the way down to the other side. And then you can cut your ribbon about 5 or 6 inches off and then stop again, leaving about 1 inch space at the end. And then go to the top and just sew a straight stitch. This one will go a lot quicker because you don't have to measure and hold it down. It's always the bottom stitch that takes a while. So when you do your next ribbon, make sure that you have the two lined up so you have the same length. You just position your ribbon right up against the other one. You can also use Wonder Under or Heat and Bond here if you want to lay all your ribbon down and iron them down first. And there you have all the ribbons sewn down side by side. And there's a 1 inch space there, about 1 inch, so that you can hem the skirt together. So what you're going to do with both sides is you're going to put them down inside out, ribbon facing ribbon, and start by measuring the ribbon to, the colors to one another. And this is why you leave that 1 inch space there, so that you have room to sew, and then you can go ahead and pin. And pin the side all the way up. Make sure that the ribbon is pushed down in there so that you don't get it caught in the side. After you have the sides sewn up, you can start by hemming the bottom. You're going to want to fold the fabric up about 1 inch and iron, and then fold again underneath there and iron again, and then you can start sewing. Either that or you could use double-sided bias. It's extra wide double fold bias is what it's called. And you could use that for the bottom of your skirt also, especially if you don't have enough length or just for an easier finish. Next, for the top, you have those straight cuts on the top there, the straight sides, which make it easier because when you fold the fabric down, it'll be even. So again, you're going to want to go down about 3 inches, maybe 1.5 inches. Do the same thing as the hem, fold it in half, fold it under again, and then sew. But don't sew all the way around. You want to leave a couple of inches open so that you can put the elastic through. So and just beginning sewer tip, put a safety pin at the end of the elastic, push it through the opening there, and just work to the left, pushing the safety pin through and pulling it until you have your elastic all the way through. Then you can sew up the bottom. Now the ribbons on the end are usually not finished. You can cut them whatever length you want, whatever design you want. You can do pointed arrows, you can do them straight across, and there's a finished product. There are different styles, different fabrics. There's not one right way to do it. This is one way that I found is pretty easy. I love making ribbon skirts, and I hope you do too. Enjoy this tutorial, and if you have other tips, please share. Thank you.